You have to finish last week's, right?
What's it?
Don't you have to finish last week's Dvar Malchut? You said you were going to finish it.
Right, you are. Right, you are. And that's what we're going to do. Thank you very much for reminding me. Thank you very much. That's right. That's right. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what friends are for. Let's see if we can, how we're going to do this over here. All right, so let's make a pause over here. We're going to go pause. All right. Thank you very much. I was reminded that last week we did not finish the Dvar Malchut, the speech of the Lubavitcher Rebbe that he gave in 1992. We didn't finish it. So, and I said we were going to finish it, and we are going to finish it. Here it is. All right. Last week, what did we talk about? Moshe. That Moshe, the day that he was born, was the day that it was revealed in the world that there is such a thing as Moshe. The day that he was born was on the 7th day of Adar, which that transformed the whole entire month to a month which empowers the Jewish soul. And just the fact that he was born is enough, is sufficient. That's what's called the essence of Moses. And we said that that's also hinted at in the Torah portion that we read last week, where Moses' name does not appear. And some people mistakenly translate that, say that that implies that it's some sort of a punishment or something like that. What's that? I don't understand. I didn't understand. Hello? Hello, hello. Was that a voice from heaven? What? Did somebody say something? All right. Was that me speaking? Was that a record? Anyway, okay. Let's go back in. Maybe there was no voice. I thought I heard a voice. Okay. Here we go. So Moses, that was hinted at last week's Torah portion. When God said to Moses, it starts off, Ata tetzaveh, you personally, second person, face to face. God was the essence of Moses. He was speaking to the essence of Moses, you. And what's the essence of Moses? Tetzaveh, to connect the Jewish people to God. And when a Jew is connected to the essence of God, so that brings what continues in that sentence, the first sentence of last week's Torah portion. Semen Zayed Zach, this brings pure oil from the olives. The Jewish people are like olive. They only produce their true inside when they are pressured. And this pressures the Jewish people to reveal their true essence. That's what Moses does by revealing his true essence. And that, by the way, is what Mordechai did to the Jewish people. So they revealed their true essence. So that was the whole miracle of the holiday of Purim. Okay, so it says, what are we supposed to learn from this? Haram yamor la'el b'nogei avoda b'pol. What can we learn from this in regards to actual serving God? Huh? What can we learn from all these wonderful ideas? Without bringing them into action or speech or thought, the ideas are what do you want to call it? Worthless. Huh? The good is ideas, they're potential, but okay. Now we are coming into from the 7th day of Adar that came on Parshas Tetzaveh. This week is not Tetzaveh, right? This is last week we're learning. This is week is Tisa. Bishneim, and both of them are stressed. His Gabrus, the strengthening of the soul of the Jewish people. Hachozek v'atokev, the etzem. I just translated Muslim is the soul. That's the way I translated. But the Muslim means like the spiritual, how do you say, influence of the Jewish people, the luck of the Jewish. I don't know how exactly what's a proper translation for it. But the mazel of the Jewish people means the essence of the Jewish people, how it's expressed in the world. It strengthens it in the world. So therefore, it says if you have any questionable, what do you say, shaky things, whatever to do, try to do it in the month of Adar because the luck of the Jewish people is better. That's the mazel. This is the power and the assertiveness, the defiance of the essence of the soul, ata, and can feel like it's drawn down and revealed in the world. Because the job of the Jewish people is to effect the world. Oh, that's the word? Yes, effect the world. To change the world. We're talking about self-sacrifice, not to go out of the world. God forbid, but souls and bodies for long life, healthy life. And we should add even more and with more power, but tagburos achayas, that should be more dynamic, your life, more vitality. But kol maseinu, and everything that we do in all of our service, learning Torah and doing the commandments, including spreading out Torah and Judaism and Hasidut, and spreading out the teachings of Hasidut in order to bring actually the future redemption. Gula v'shlema, that's the camera, that's not me. Camera, al yedei Moshe Rabbeinu, by Mashiach Tzidkenu, by means of the Mashiach. She'az then tiyesh shlemus galus the etzem Yisrael. Then there will be the total revelation of the essence of what Jews really are. Namely, the Jews and God are totally one. And because God is, as we just finished learning, our creator, so God is infinitely good and close and caring about every human being. And the Jews are here to reveal that. But kol olam kulo, and the whole entire world, that the whole world will be a dwelling place for God. Or another way of saying, the service of God in this month of Adar, that it says, Bari b'tachat mazli, that the soul of the Jewish people is strong and powerful, is to bring actually the geula mitit v'shlema, the total redemption of the whole entire world by means of the Mashiach. In other words, the soul of the world will come out of its imprisonment inside of our egotism. We let God do something. We attach ourselves to the Creator. That's why the month is called Adir. Sha'az then will be revealed in the whole entire world, the mazel of Yisrael, the power and the health, the goodness of the Jewish people. Now, the Jewish people are called Adirim. They are called the powerful ones, the big ones. More biyachad, together with the revelation of Adir b'marom Hashem, with the revelation of God, making God a dwelling place in the lower worlds. Actually, we did this. Now we're doing what we did. Even more. So Parsha Shekorim, the Torah portions that we read in this month, in this year, in that year there were two others. This year's the only one. Oh, there's only one. This is making the Mishkan, making the tabernacle, right? Shlemuto, that the completion of it will be in the third temple. That from it, light will go out to the whole world, until that the whole entire world will be made a dwelling for God, just like in the Holy Temple. So that's what it means. Okay, what Torah portions do we read in this month? Truma and Tetzaveh, that we read. Tetzaveh we read this past Shabbos, and Truma the Shabbat before that. Kitisa, that we're reading this Shabbos, this coming Shabbos. And Yakel Pekude, that's what we read in the last two Shabbos, after Kitisa. Okay, so what does it mean? These are all talking about somehow or other dealing with building the tabernacle, which is the forerunner, at least the prototype of the first and second, and most important, the third temples. Truma and Tetzaveh, that talks about the commandment to build the tabernacle, the garments, the priestly garments, and the days of inauguration of the tabernacle, including also make me a holy temple and I will dwell within them. This is the whole entire idea of the holy temple. That's the commandment to build the tabernacle. The furniture, the instruments, the vessels that were in the holy temple, and etc. The altar and Parshat Kitisa, altars, and the garments of this week's Torah portion, Kitisa, is talking about elevating the Rosh, the head of the Jewish people. This hints at the ultimate completion of the elevation of the Jewish people. Kitisam is to raise up the heads of the Jewish people, raising the heads which will be in the future redemption. What do we say the head is? Thinking. People will think about God, and people will be aware of God. Your head will lead your body, not like people are trying to do today, that your body leads your head. You do what you want and you find excuses. No, you'll do what's right, you'll think what's right, and your body will follow after. That's what kitisa means. This comes after the descent of the exile. This hints at the third temple. And Vayakel Pekude, the last two portions in the book of Exodus, which talk about the actual factual building of the tabernacle. Truma Tetzav is the commandment of God. This is what the Jews did. This is Kiyum Tzivoy. This is fulfilling the commandment that God gave to build the tabernacle and the garments, make the garments of the priests, the Kohanim, until it actually gets set up actually. And then this is hinted at also the completion, the final tabernacle, it'll be the temple. The tabernacle was also called the temple, Mikdash. The third temple, which is called the third temple, the actual final one. This is Pekudei Mishkan, Mishkan Edut. That's what it says, Pekudei Mishkan, Mishkan Edut. This hints at the first two destructions that God took as a mashkon. Mashkon, Shadukut Mashkon. What's mashkon? Mashkon means that if I owe you money, right? I owe you money, so you can take my car as a mashkon. A mashkon is, in English, they call it a collateral or a surety or whatever. So in other words, God just took, the Jewish people owed God a lot of service and they didn't pay him back. So God took the first two temples as a mashkon, as a collateral, but he'll give it back. And he's going to give it back to the Jews after the 2,000 years that we've suffered, since the third temple is also Meshulash, it's triple. Shetiyebo, it'll have all the good which was in the first temple and the second temple. And then each one was unique in its own way. The third temple will contain all that uniqueness of the first and the second temple. As will be Gam HaHakala, the gathering, Vayakhel, means to gather all of the Jewish people by means of the Goel Rishon, who Goel Achron, the first redemption, the first redeemer, which is Moses, and he's going to be the last redeemer, Moses. He'll be the last redeemer. Moses came from the tribe of Levi, and the last redeemer is going to be Moshiach ben David. It's going to come from Yehuda. So it says spiritually he'll be, that's a good question, but Moshiach will answer that question. But Yakel, that's what Moses, that says Moses gathered all the Jews together, and that he's going to be the number 10, Pikude, that's number 10, the counting of all of the Jewish people. Vayikra, and after that this is going to be in 3 weeks, this week, 4 weeks from now, Vayikra, we're going to begin the book of Leviticus, Vayikra. Vayikra means, and he called. Vayikra, I guess Leviticus is because it's supposed to be the laws of the Levite. I don't know. Why they made up these names, I don't know. But okay, that's what it's called. That's what we're going to call it too. Vayikra, the book of Leviticus. This is Vayikra el Moshe, that God spoke to Moses, and God called to Moses, and he spoke to him from the tabernacle. Kriya v'dibur kodesh baruch hu, and also to every single Jew, ba'ofen shekulam yaduoti, that everyone will know God. This is going to be the future redemption. After that comes Tzav, Vayikra. That's going to be in 5-6 weeks. Tzav, that's the second portion, the second reading in the book of Leviticus. Ein Tzav ela lashon ziruz miad. Command means to, they say, to inspire, that it should be done immediately. Tzav means command them. They should do it now. Take it from me out immediately. Nasa should be made all of these details of Tzav, namely to inaugurate the future redemption, the 7 days of inauguration that began in the 23rd day of Adar, which is going to be a week or something from now. No, it's not going to be a week from now. It's going to be 10 days from now. And that's when the Jews did the inauguration of the tabernacle in the desert. And the Shemini after that is Shemini. Shemini is the 8th day, the day after the Jews finished all of the preparations and the inauguration for the tabernacle. And that's the 7 days. And the 8th day was when it actually started. That's the first day. And that was the first day when Nadav, when Nachshon ben Aminadav, he was the leader of the tribe of Yehuda. He brought the first actual offerings in the tabernacle. He brought them. And this is the same day that also Nadav and Avihu rushed in and they got killed. Shabo nitkaimu tefillas Moshe. That was the prayer of Moses. Yehi noam Hashem Elokeinu. May the pleasantness of God be with us. May God make it that His Shekhinah, that His presence should rest with us, that we should feel God's presence. We should say, and that's the whole idea of the tabernacle, that it should be in this world, to stress how important this physical world is. Okay, Tesvav. Here he's talking about it, what happens when there's two udders. May it be God's will, and this is the main thing. May it be God's will, and this is the main thing. Shalo yitztarchu, we should not have to wait these 2 months until the month of Adar. And when the Rebbe was speaking this, there were 2 months of Adar, until there's the month of Nisan. Then in Nisan it says, we were taken from Egypt, and in Nisan we are going to be redeemed again. And I just want to tell you again, as I said this before, how do we know that there's going to be a future redemption? Maybe the world is just going to go the way it goes. And, the righteous people will go to heaven and they'll just stay there. What's the problem? And maybe there'll be something, who knows, the world will just sort of, there'll be too much, it'll be cold, it'll be warm. Huh? you ever read, there's a poem by Robert Frost. You ever read, it's called Fire and Ice. Now there's people that say there's going to be global warming, there's going to be global warming. When I remember when I was in university, they said there was going to be freezing. It was going to be freezing, that the world was going to freeze, right? It was getting colder and colder. Now it's going to go. Okay, however the world is going to finish, says the Rebbe, we shouldn't have to wait. The fact is that the world is not going to finish. The fact is that this world, oh, here it is. Oh. That's right. In Nisan, we left, what's going on here? One second. Excuse me, okay. Okay, the Cain to Yelano, and so it should be to us. No, I'm skipping some important things here. 1 second. The pointer just sort of moved down, so I missed. Okay. Okay, because this year that the Rebbe said this was when the Rebbe was 90 years old. The Rebbe was born in, 19 Tafshin Samech Beit. So when it was 1902, I guess, right? The Rebbe was born 1902. And this is 1992. So this is the Rebbe's tzaddik, the Rebbe's 90th year. And this is connected with Mizmor, the 90th Psalm. In Chabad, we have a custom every day you say your Psalm of your, okay, that this comes after the Psalm 89, where it says, Matzati David Abdi, I have found King David, my servant. I have anointed him with holy oil, until the final of the finishing of that Psalm, previous Psalm, blessed be God la'olam, forever, amen v'amen. The finishing of Vayi Noam, that the pleasantness of God should be with our handiwork, and it should be firm. The whatever we do should be permanent. This refers to the ultimate revelation of God in the third temple, by means of finishing all of our deeds. And this generation, that our generation is the 7th generation. Shabon Nishalmu Puloso, that this is finishes the service of Moses. Goel Rishon Goel Achron is the first redeemer and the last redeemer. Bamshachas Gilui Elokus, to draw godliness down in the world, to make God a dwelling in the world. And so it should be that in the 11th day of Adar, which that was this past Shabbat, and that was when the Rebbe said this, it was also the same day, and that this is 60 days before the 11th day of Nisan, which that's the Rebbe's birthday, will be completed all of the content of this 11th day of Nisan, like it says, on the 11th day of Nisan, that was Ashtei Asar Yom, there was Asher, in the time of the tabernacle. So they began on the first day of Nisan. Each tribe, the head of each tribe, brought his special offerings, which were the same for each tribe. On the 11th day was Asher. So the 11th day of Nisan, that's also the day that the Rebbe was born, the Rebbe's birthday. And like we said, the birthday of Moses is very important, because the birthday, that's when the essence of the person is revealed. So it says it's Asher. Asher, it says Asher, that oil is his food. Tovel b'shemen, he will dip in oil his feet, like it's expressed in Parshas Ketaveh, Vayikru Shemen Zayit. Last week's Torah. Everyone should bring to Moses, pure oil. And so it is in also Parshas Kitisa. That's what we're reading this week. That it begins. We began to read last week, and that it's talking about the oil, Shemen Mishchat Kodesh. It's talking about the Shemen. Matzasi David, that I have found King David, and I have anointed him with oil. What is this oil? Oil is the self-sacrifice of the Jewish people. The Jewish people are likened to an olive. When the Jewish people are pressured, or when they pressure themselves, as this brings out this pure oil. The Rebbe said in the last mimer that he gave, he gave it out to be learned by everybody, that we should be crushed. The Jewish people only effectively bring out their true identity when they are crushed. In the time of Purim, they were crushed by Haman. But we see that didn't last very long. As soon as Haman stopped crushing them and we won, so then the Jewish people started acting normal. And that's why the second temple, which that was the whole thing of the miracle of Purim, to continue the building of the second temple, it got destroyed. So nowadays, says the Rebbe, we have to be crushed, but not from the outside. If we're crushed from the outside, it doesn't last. As soon as the pressure goes away, we stop being crushed. We have to crush ourselves, said the Rebbe. And how do we crush ourselves? By understanding that as long as the world is how do you say, in ignorance, as long as there's any suffering in the world, as long as there's one person in the world, one Jew that does not know about the Torah and the commandments, one non-Jew that does not know about his creator and the 7 Noahide commandments, that should crush us. We should understand that the world is incomplete. It should make us feel bad. And we should know that it's in our ability to do something to make the world to find what we have to do, to test, to try, whatever we can. That's crushing ourselves. And that's the true oil that'll come out. That's the oil that anoints the Moshiach. This is the main completion of Kitisat Rosh Bnei Israel. That's this week's Torah portion, by means of what? Raising the Jewish people's head, the head of the Jewish people, by means of Rosh Bnei Israel, by means of the anointing of the head of the Jewish people. That's Moses. Moshe, he's the first redeemer, he's the last redeemer, to be Melech HaMashiach, that will come and he will redeem us and take us quickly into our land of Israel. Now, all the Jewish people, first they'll build the Holy Temple, and then bring all the Jews to Israel with the redemption. Then the whole world will be happy with the Gula Amitis Rishlima right now. Thank you very much for reminding me this. God willing, tomorrow we'll do Ki Tisa. We'll start Ki Tisa. Now let us do the Yom Yom.